On December 2nd, 2000, 24-year-old hunting YouTuber Zeb Cox was deer hunting in Vermont the day after Thanksgiving, just after the region had received 6 inches of fresh snow, ideal conditions for tracking. He began the morning by carefully reading the ground, studying fresh sign to determine where deer had been feeding and where they might be bedding.
An hour so far, and I just came to a barnyard. Tracks everywhere. Looks like they've been feeding in here after it snowed. There's no snow on any of the tracks, so I'm gonna work my way through here and try to sort this out, and hopefully I can find the tracks leaving out of here, get on them, and track them down. Well, I just got it all sorted out. I actually saw the deer. It was a doe and a fawn. They saw me, took off up the hill. There was nothing else with them, and I just came up here and checked, and it's just those 2 tracks coming out of here. So I'm gonna continue on my way. It's still early, so I'm not in a big rush.
Early on, he identified recent activity near a barnyard and followed the most promising tracks deeper into the woods, noting sightings of a doe and a fawn before continuing on alone. As he pushed farther in, the terrain became increasingly unforgiving, with steep hills, deep snow, and limited visibility. But Zeb pressed on, confident deer would be holding just beyond the next ridgeline. After working around the mountain, he eventually picked up a smoking fresh track and followed it slowly and quietly for nearly half a mile, using the favorable wind to his advantage as he closed the distance.
It's 9 o'clock. Right when I got up here, I found a set of old tracks heading right through the saddle, going down. I'm not gonna follow them. I'm just gonna keep working my way, pretty much the opposite way that this deer went. I'm gonna work my way around the mountain and back down the other side. Just working my way back down this mountain. I just came across a smoking fresh track. I'm gonna get on it and I'm gonna move as quietly as possible. Go nice and slow. Hopefully I can get a crack at him. I'll let you guys know how I make out. Been following him for probably a half a mile. I just came to a spot where he was feeding. There's a few others. You can see where he was nipping the buds off. These little saplings. It seems like I'm making some good progress, so I'm just gonna keep on moving at the same speed and be nice and quiet. Right now the wind's in my favor, so that's good, and I'm hoping I can catch up to him. We'll see.
When he finally lined up his shot and fired, the forest fell silent for a brief moment, until the wounded deer suddenly charged straight at him, antlers down, missing him by only inches. Zeb managed to fire again and survive the encounter, but the danger had already sunk in. In deep snow, on steep terrain, even a single impact from those antlers could have been fatal, leaving no realistic chance of escape or rescue. The incident serves as a stark reminder that even a successful hunt can turn deadly in seconds, raising the question of whether this was a rare fluke of animal behavior, or proof that tracking wounded game always carries risks hunters can never fully control. At first glance, duck hunting appears to be one of the safer forms of hunting, largely because it doesn't require venturing deep into remote wilderness where encounters with large predators are a constant risk. However, like any outdoor activity, it carries its own hidden dangers, something Ethan from the Lucas Ranks YouTube channel experienced firsthand in November 2020. While hunting ducks alone early in the morning, just as the sun was rising, he had been positioned on a beach for several hours waiting for birds to gather. After successfully shooting a duck, it landed farther out in the water than expected, and without a boat, Ethan had no choice but to wade in to retrieve it. Unfamiliar with the lake, he didn't realize there was a sudden drop-off just a few feet from shore. As he stepped forward, the ground disappeared beneath him, and he began struggling to stay afloat. Although he knew how to swim, his water-filled waders quickly became the real threat, dragging him down and severely restricting his movement. With each passing second, the risk of drowning increased, made worse by the frigid water that threatened hypothermia and caused his muscles to stiffen. Being completely alone meant there was no one to assist or call for help, leaving calm decision-making as his only lifeline. Using all his strength, Ethan managed to fight his way back toward shore, eventually finding an underwater ledge and pulling himself out with only minor physical harm. While his composure and determination played a role, many believe sheer luck was just as critical. Do you think this situation highlights the importance of preparation and never hunting alone? Or was survival here decided by a single fortunate moment? In November 2020, a routine night on a Lake Travis property took an unsettling turn when Chris returned after dark to track wild hogs using GPS collars. What began as standard wildlife monitoring grew tense as equipment malfunctioned, and nearby deer started acting erratically, signaling something felt off.
Those deer were trouble for us. They saw us because they were about 90 yards maybe away from us. So they were snorting and alarming. There was a pig on the feeder and I didn't record early enough, but the second those deer started to alarm and snort, that pig immediately ran away. At this point, he's somewhere behind those trees. Not long after that boar showed up, we actually had another group come in here. Those are yearlings, fairly small hogs. And I was hoping I would be able to find that hog we tagged initially, so the first hog we ever tagged, which still has a collar around its neck, and hopefully also the tracker. So I'm looking here with the thermal, trying to figure out which of these hogs has potentially this collar on its neck, but it's really hard to see. And as I'm cutting this video, did you guys just see that? There was something hanging off the neck. Let's play this video again in slow motion, take a closer look. On the top of its neck, the razorback hair is actually interrupted. You see something darker, which means hotter than the hair. That's actually the pig, I believe. But I couldn't make it out with the thermal in the viewfinder. Just now in the video, in editing basically, I was able to identify. So I think to properly do that, I need to use the X-Eye to be actually able to see details on the hog. The weirdest and creepiest thing happens. Chris and I walk back up from this boar up the road, and all of a sudden in the sky I see something like long, like several inches long. You know, obviously way up in the sky, basically, airplane height and these kind of things. I thought, is it maybe a power line and something, is reflecting off that power line? But it just looked way up there. Couldn't be a power line. So I record this thing, and Chris and I leave some interesting commentary, because at this point we don't really know if we're going to be abducted here in a second and aliens do some weird experiments to us. So it was definitely creepy. Are there power lines up there? There's something like...
Maybe that's creeping me out. I see it moving.
There are no power lines that far up there. What the is this?
It looks like Santa Claus in this.
What the hell is this? Then I also remember those Starlink satellites, and they recently read in the news how close to each other they are, and they're actually quite disturbing to astronomy photographers and people like that, because it is such a giant constellation on the sky. And I think sure enough, those are the Starlink satellites. First time ever I got to see them. I don't know how often that happens or how often you can see them, but it doesn't come through the video as good because it was just a one video, but you can see it. Strange experience. Suckers. Not today, devil. Finding some of the golf ball I was always looking for.
It's the random. That is so random.
You're right on it. Sure enough.
Holy crap.
Sure enough. Wow. Chris, you didn't have a power wagon, Chris. You had one job. One job. For America. Man, it looks rough. Just one night. Crazy. Yeah, I don't know if you can put this in another rock like this. Could try, maybe. I mean, those are they're cutting off. Or you didn't, see that? Probably just try it all over again. But we found it, and got my golf ball back. I hit that in Flugabel. Came all the way over here. Son of a gun. I thought for sure it was still in the pig.
I thought it was moving away when we heard the squeals, yeah.
Something was in here. So I heard something huffing or whatever over there. So, alright, let's try to find our way out of here.
While reviewing thermal footage later, Chris noticed odd details he hadn't caught in the moment. But the strangest experience came as they left the area. High in the sky, an unfamiliar object appeared, long and distant, drifting silently above them and prompting uneasy speculation. A grounded explanation points to Starlink satellites for the lights, while stress, low visibility, and thermal artifacts could explain the earlier anomalies. Still, the overlap of failing gear, alarmed wildlife, and a sudden sky phenomenon makes the experience hard to dismiss. Were these unrelated coincidences stacking up, or signs that something truly unusual was unfolding out there that night? On January 28, 2023, a deeply unsettling hunting video was uploaded to YouTube by the channel Stuck and the Rut, documenting siblings Tana and Trevor as they ventured far into the Alaskan wilderness in search of brown bears. After several days of camping, glassing distant slopes, and following tracks, they finally located a large bear across rugged terrain, initially unsure whether it was a sow or a boar.
Bear spotted. It's about 3 miles as the crow flies across the river. Probably about 5 miles to get to it. Haven't really been able to see what it is yet. It might be a big sow or it's possibly a boar too. It's a pretty good sized bear, but yeah, not sure if it's a boar or sow.
It's working its way up. Looks dark, walking like a boar. Looks like a shooter.
Spotted a boar up here, kind of up in the snow. So we're gonna go up there, see if we can close the distance on it. It's kind of right. We're good on wind right now, but typically the wind kind of comes off the ocean. Probably won't be too long before it switches up that way, but we're gonna try and close the distance. Hopefully it's just taking a nap up there, but he's moving some ground fast.
Worst case, I saw him go in that snow patch and we can see how big his track is, you know, and he went behind that hill.
If anything,
It went
that
right
hill I just looked, that hill drops into that next basin. So even if we have to chase him up over into that,
Do you think we need
he can always come out
snowshoes?
that way. Snowshoes would have been a good, it's a bad idea to not bring it.
I thought about it too. I was like, maybe I should bring them.
Yeah. I think it's like 900.
Do you want to try?
I can't get a close enough read on him for it to even be close to being able to hit it. Get some good video.
We're stuck in a bear. He's coming over this other side. Aim to ambush him. Just been running, trying to get over here. We dropped our packs. We're going in. This is where we should have had snowshoes.
Well, we basically sprinted over here all the way around to this side of the mountain because it looked like this boar was going to come up through this knot, and then the wind just totally screwed us. Right when we kind of crested over this ridge here, it just started blowing right towards the notch. Doesn't look like he's came through. There's nothing else up there. He's heading straight up in 10 feet of snow, so that's pretty much was his plan. But not sure where he went. Pretty sure he went to this. Maybe we're gonna get to the top and see if we can kind of get eyes on where he went or any of his tracks. It's pretty gnarly up here. There's all of these peaks have big, 50 to 100 foot cornices on them, so it's a little bit freaky. You don't want to be hanging up on a cornice.
As the animal continued moving uphill through snow, they made the decision to close the distance, carefully considering wind direction, visibility, and the long approach required to reach it. The conditions quickly became more dangerous. Deep snow, steep ridges, and massive cornices hanging over the mountain made every step risky. After spending nearly the entire day tracking, they began setting up for a shot as the bear climbed higher, forcing them farther up the mountain.
Bear moved a good mile probably further up Death Mountain, so we're about to see if we can make it up there. There's another sow too, just kind of rounded the ridge top. It's a really big sow, but Hannah said no sows allowed, so to the top we go. So we're about halfway up this mountain now. It's a steep one. Hannah is one crazy woman, let me tell you. Don't know how she talked me into this.
Oh, he's getting up. Here we go. Jeez, go down, please. I think you got it. Is it jammed? Hold on, let me rearrange.
Still won't work for some reason. What's going on?
When shots were finally fired, the bear was hit, but the situation immediately deteriorated when Trevor's rifle malfunctioned, likely due to freezing conditions, preventing the action from closing. As he struggled to fix the jam, the wounded bear slowly rose and began advancing toward them, closing the distance with alarming determination.
Please die.
What in the heck is going on?
Did you get a good shot?
I don't know, but I don't know why this thing will not go in. Gosh, dang it.
Spitting out blood.
Despite being struck multiple times, the animal continued charging, and in terrain like this, with a brown bear still on its feet, the advantage shifted completely. As the gap narrowed to just a few dozen feet, they abandoned their gear and ran, no longer focused on filming, but on survival. While fleeing downhill, the bear continued to pursue them, prompting Tana to briefly record what could have been a final message, describing the attack and their escape.
We just had this bear up there. It was bedded when I shot it, and it actually came running after us all the way down the hill. This is its tracks and blood trail. We intend to drop all of our stuff. We got down, took off running down there. 10 yards.
Trevor's the man. He saved our lives.
The bear 10 yards straight up.
With only a few feet separating them from disaster, Trevor managed to fire one final shot, this time fatally stopping the bear. Looking back, this encounter highlights how quickly a controlled hunt can unravel due to weather, terrain, or equipment failure, and raises the question of whether the outcome was decided by experience, instinct, and luck, or if it serves as a stark reminder that even after multiple rifle hits, nature can still push back with terrifying force. In November 2022, a bow hunter from Michigan named Brendan Fitzpatrick was alone inside his hunting blind, waiting quietly for deer movement, when the silence was suddenly broken by a voice he didn't recognize. When Brendan looked outside, he found himself staring down an unfamiliar man aiming an AR-style rifle directly at him. Brendan attempted to calmly explain that he was legally hunting the area, but the man grew increasingly aggressive, refusing to listen and escalating the confrontation.
Out there right now. All right. But I just want to show you kind of why we're here. I mean, we paid good money to hunt this property. We've been hunting it for years.
it down. No, you ain't been moving for years. I've been here 8 years.
Do you live on this property right here?
Sir, you're not listening to me. I'm not.
I just want to talk to you. I'm sorry.
He repeatedly demanded that Brendan put his phone down and issued statements that came across as direct threats, while Brendan did everything possible to remain compliant and non-confrontational.
Put your phone down.
You have an AR in front of me. I'm scared.
Put your phone down.
Dude, I'm scared as now.
Okay, well, it's going to be more scary. Put your phone down. Are you attacking me?
No, sir. I'm hunting. I'm hunting with...
Drop your phone.
Oh my God. Sir,
Listen to me.
I'm bow hunting. I don't have any guns on me.
I know that.
The man continued accusing him of wrongdoing, ordering him to leave, and brandishing both his weapon and an aggressive dog as intimidation tactics. Despite Brendan explaining that the land was legally leased for bow hunting by his family, something they had done for years, the man rejected every explanation and refused to even identify himself, signaling he had no interest in resolving the situation peacefully. What made the encounter especially disturbing was the man referencing Chai Bang, a mass shooter responsible for killing members of a hunting party in 2004, which Brendan interpreted as a clear warning of what could happen if he didn't comply. Brendan eventually managed to de-escalate the situation and leave unharmed, but later attempts to press charges went nowhere, with police stating there was insufficient evidence. The incident didn't end there. On November 25, 2023, Brendan's brother encountered the same individual while hunting nearby, despite deliberately setting up more than 150 yards away from the original site. This time, the man reportedly opened fire without warning, though none of the shots struck him, and he escaped safely. Once again, no charges were filed, fueling online speculation that the man may have local connections shielding him from consequences. While no one was physically injured, the case raises serious questions about accountability, rural enforcement, and whether these encounters were the result of unchecked aggression or something far more troubling. What do you think should have happened differently to prevent this from escalating even further? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.